guys.
Hey guys.
Welcome to the channel today. Denise and Jeanette.
Knew2w Farms. I'm sorry, my brain's not working. I hadn't had coffee this morning yet.
That's right. We're going to get coffee. We're going to do a quick opening real quick.
We are at Keepers of the Old Ways event starting bright and early, 7 a.m. this morning at Landmark Park here in
Dothan, Alabama.
Dothan, Alabama. It's going to be a beautiful, windy day. So, got our product here to sell, and classes are beginning.
The guys are setting up their class, getting ready to teach. Yep.
So last year we did a video on our time here, and we asked the question about community. What does community mean to you? And a lot of our YouTubers and homesteaders answered that question. So this year we wanted to ask a new question. Go ahead, sister.
I forgot the question. I'm sorry.
And you've had coffee.
No, I'm sorry.
She's had coffee.
Go ahead, sister.
Okay, so the question is, what was one thing you wished you had learned from your grandparents?
Right. That seems to be the theme of Keepers this year, is
Learning
old ways.
old ways.
And then the second part of that question would be, what's the value of knowing it in this day and time? And so we're going to go around, we're going to ask those questions and just kind of
get some answers.
Let you meet everybody here.
Hopefully we'll do a good job of that.
Absolutely, maybe so.
Nanny Goat is here. You hear her in the background.
There's Nanny Goat. Say hey, Nanny.
Nanny Goat.
Say hey.
Hey.
She doesn't have her hearing aids in, so you'll hear us yelling at her today.
All right.
So we're off
we're heading to coffee
and then opening ceremonies. We'll see y'all in a bit.
Yeah.
I just want him stiff. That's the only reason I put him in a cooler, is to stick up the meat. Makes it easier to handle and cut. What I try to do is I try to get on their level. You want to shoot in a straight line back to their butt. Because if you shoot down, all it's going to do is the bullet's going to go straight down, straight through the bottom of their jaw, and it ain't going to do nothing to them. Between, it doesn't matter. But between, I usually go between the, I think it's the second, third, or the third and fourth rib. Between the third and fourth. But really, all that matters is, this is your pork chop. The loin is the pork chop. I'll show it to you in a minute when we get it all broke down. And but anyway, just get right in here. Like I said, if you wanted to leave more meat on the rib, you could. I don't particularly. Bloodshot meat, I'm gonna just cut off. You know, and that's right, whatever you want to do with it. I usually just half my ribs. This is a small pig. You know, on a bigger hog, your ribs would be a lot bigger. Think about how much I have to get these pigs to the store up to get these ribs. Ain't natural. Most of them weigh 300 pounds anyway. All he's doing is trimming this blood shot meat off the bacon. Yep, just trim it so you can see it. Bacon. Yeah. Wait a minute, I'll show you the bacon. Got 2 or 3 guns. Y'all need about a half. It's not a real big ham. I'd say this ham probably weighs 15 pounds maybe. They need trimming up, son. I'll trim it up. And I'll show you. More than anything, what we like to do with it, I'll separate each lobe. Cut it about 6 of my finger, and I drop it through a tenderizer. That tenderized pork. That tenderized pork.
All right, guys, we've just finished our first class of the pig processing, and this is one of our attendants. Tell me what your name is.
Hey, I'm Chantel.
Chantel. And what brought you out for the hog processing class today?
Well, I'm really getting interested in starting to do my own meat, getting self-sustainable. So I've been doing rabbits and goats for a while, and the pigs are really, I want to learn how to make the cuts of meat like in the grocery store.
Yeah. So you've gone through the class, you've listened to Stumpy a little bit. Did you gain any knowledge on how to cut the
the meat on a hog?
Oh my gosh, so much knowledge. It's so much better when you're hands-on, you can watch somebody do it. Then, I mean, I watched a lot of videos, but it's not the same as getting right in there.
And you asked a lot of questions, a lot of great questions. You
I
seem
did.
very knowledgeable of everything that you're doing, and that's how you learn, right?
That's right.
That's right. And we appreciate Stumpy's expertise. He does such a great job in teaching
Really
everybody, and he's always open for questions. So don't feel like you over asked, because he loved it. Also, we are going around asking people today, since the theme of Keepers of the Old Ways is to learn from your ancestors or your grandparents. What would be one thing that you would say that you wished you had learned from your grandparents?
So I would probably say, actually it's not even about my grandparents, because my family's from up north. It would be down south, how they kept the meat preserved through the winter. That's what I would love to know. It's so warm here.
Yes, and that would probably benefit us today if we had some type of major crisis, wouldn't it?
Right, it definitely would.
Yeah.
Salt is the key, I learned today.
Yeah, salt is the key. So as far as any other classes, you signed up for more classes to take?
Absolutely. I'm fixing to take the next one, grafting with Flemington Famous.
Yes, wonderful. Well, we appreciate you coming out and asking all the questions and taking our class, and we look forward to talking to you some more down the road, I'm sure.
That's awesome. Thank you so much.
Bye.
Okay.
If it's on there, it's great. So it's gonna...
Judging by the
So you see me throw my finger up here, say I need a 3-inch piece of wood. That's kind of how I'm gauging it. So I want my wedge cut that I'm about to make about an inch, inch and a quarter, something like that. So I got a leaf bud, so I'm gonna try to leave that leaf bud. Probably should have done this before I did my curls on there.
This is also the biblical way. But what you want to do is cut right beside the ear, which is going to get your main artery. You don't want to cut his windpipe, because then you cut the oxygen off of him and he goes berserk. Now he may flap some, but I'm going to leave him here for a minute and just let him calm down. Have the water perfect. We'll see how good the skull takes. Sometimes the skull, different animals does different. And you have to keep all that stuff in mind, especially if your hand blows. One bird, it's done a good job of scalding. I just wipe it off. Pretty much.
You've ever tried it without it? Anybody ever experienced that?
After I get through the rest of it. I pretty much got it clean. Like I say, you can just pick. I tell people about all your butchery. If you see something you don't like,
Basically, you can, if this was your 2x4 in the house, you could mount it on there just like that.
Well, that's how you know you've done a good job.
yes.
That means his neck right there.
I'm correct. But the bladder's right here. Sometimes it'll be full of urine. And so I want to get that out. Find the tube.
Hey guys, I want to introduce you to somebody I met here at Keepers.
And I'm Jared Edens, Jared Edens Dalwood Day. That's Jared Edens in Cherokee. He's just introducing myself both ways. OCO, hello for Cherokee. We have Edens Family Farm. We're down in Cottonwood, on Cottonwood Road, right before you get to Union Hill Church.
Not far from Perry Hill Farms, we just learned.
Yeah,
And he
neighbors.
has a YouTube channel that he's trying to get kicked off and get started. So y'all go check him out. Now I'm going to ask you a question. The theme of our video today is, what do you wish you would learn from your grandparents or maybe relatives prior to you that would bring value to you today?
Honestly, probably the best thing would be to listen to your elders.
Yeah.
Listen, learn, because there's so much they can teach you, and there's so much that they have that we've just let die. When any of your grandparents or great-grandparents pass away, you lose that library. That's a library of knowledge. And I wish I'd have just spent more time listening to them and talking to them.
Recording them.
Yes, because they had community. Like my grandparents, my mom's parents, they grew up in the reservation in Oklahoma, but you would go to their house and there'd be 40 or 50 of them picking banjos and guitars, singing gospel and gardening, working with each other. Like I said, community. And just, that would be so amazing now.
Tell us a little bit about what you do on your YouTube channel, what you have there, and what you got going on your farm.
Well, the YouTube channel is kind of a growing experiment. I'm learning as I go. You know, I'm not real good at it. I was naturally a shy person.
Yeah.
But what I'm doing right now is I'm just trying to get the farm fully functional, homestead ready. I've got about 200 animals, so there's a bunch of critters out there. But I've got Katahdin hair sheep I'm just getting into. We've got goats, Nigerian dwarfs. We do chickens, turkeys, goats, geese, ducks. And I'm building a food forest system, working on some permaculture rows. I'm not a real good gardener. I can grow meat, but vegetables, I'm black thumb. But I'm trying to do some permaculture rows alongside of the Katahdin hair sheep and get that going and eventually take it over and have a pretty large food forest with a couple acres of animals.
Good. That sounds wonderful.
We figured Tracy would find a way over the bush. It's his fault.
It's his fault. Nice clean cup.
Do you need something to wrap? You think that'll make it?
Miss Tracy said, I'll make it happen. Watch this.
You think that'll work?
Look at the root.
She knows more than
Rabbit eye blueberries. Well, this one is really producing fairly well, but it's about 7 years old now, so you know, talking to Dr. Powell up there at Tales from the Past, he says, you know, they start trimming their blueberries at 7 years old, start taking some of the older canes away. So probably after this year we will, but it just produces so well.
That's awesome.
This tree over here took off a little bit, but these two side trees really have this one and this one, and then that pink lemonade was really
Hey guys, who do we have here?
I'm Blake Nelson,
Okay, where are you from, Blake?
Tuscaloosa.
Tuscaloosa. Jacqueline and Zach, he's up there, and you do what?
We have JIL Homestead, and we raise bees and pigs and chickens and rabbits.
Right, and what did you do at the conference today?
We taught an intro to beekeeping class.
Oh, and how did that go for you?
Went good.
So when you're teaching Introduction to Beekeeping, what are you teaching?
The subtitle to the class was kind of, so you think you want to be a beekeeper?
Yeah.
So I kind of aimed the class towards answering those questions of the unknown.
Yeah.
Things I wish I would have known before I got
Yeah.
into bees.
Yeah.
Just questions of should you get into bees?
Yeah.
Those type questions.
Kind of help people reason through.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because sometimes it looks all glorified and it's really not.
Right. And not everybody's cut out to be a beekeeper.
I'm terrified.
Yeah.
I don't want to be stung.
So you don't want to be a bee haver. You want to be a beekeeper.
Yes, absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, good. And your classes went good today then?
It did.
Okay. Okay. What is something that you wished that you would have learned or talked to your grandparents about or your former family members that would have been of value to you today?
Probably I would ask them about our family history, family genealogy.
Right. Because that could give you some insight of why you do what you do, probably.
It really could. It really could. I don't know much about our family history, and I would really like to know our roots.
And we found a twin. She's a twin. So she is on Pier Hill Farms with us, and they're gonna eat dinner with us tonight. So
Thank you
join
for
us.
having us.
Yes, absolutely. What brought you to Keepers? This is your first time?
Someone messaged us and asked us if we'd be interested in teaching a mushroom class.
Oh, so y'all do mushrooms?
Yes.
Oh. Okay. I don't know much about mushrooms. That's not something I've ventured off. I do love mushrooms, though. Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Is it?
It's interesting. We've
So
been doing it for about 5 months.
So your first year teaching, how did your classes go? People interested in it?
Yeah. Yeah, I
They went
was
well?
shocked to see how many people were there.
Okay.
It was a very full class.
Okay, so is there anything that you wished that you would have learned more from previous family members that would have benefited you in your lifestyle today? Or have brought value to what kind of value would it have brought? Anything?
I don't know. My parents they never did any homesteading or business entrepreneur type stuff. So I never knew anything about that.
Oh, wow. So when you started gardening on your own.
Yeah, and this guy he's always been into that.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. So you learned from him?
yes. It's pretty cool.
So the one reason we started our YouTube channel was because we didn't ask questions. And so we started documenting in 2020 because we wanted our kids to know.
Right.
Well, okay, there's a video on how they planted their potatoes. Let's go watch it and see how they did it.
Well,
And so, what will you take away from the Keepers this year?
oh my goodness.
Hopefully some new friendships, and also, like I was telling, that was your daughter we were talking to earlier. I was telling her we have like social anxiety, like really bad. So I mean that's kind of part of the reason we moved down here, because it is so hard for us to like go out and be with people, let alone like talk in front of people. So we are trying to break that.
Yeah, because we need to promote our business. You know what I mean?
And you have to be able to speak. Okay, guys, everybody knows who this kid is. Everybody. And we have Beckett here. Okay, so we've been going around asking people, what is one, you probably will come up with a great answer, one thing that you wish you would have learned from former family members? Did they farm, by the way? Did you have anybody that farmed before you? Or
My great-grandfather.
Yeah?
My great-grandfather would farm, and then all the other generations didn't do it until me.
Until you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, so there was no one there for you to ask. Did you know your
Not really.
Not really?
Yeah, I knew him, and he died when I was maybe 9 or 10.
9 or 10.
But I got to see his gardens before. And I
Oh,
thought they were fantastic.
do you think that's probably what inspired you to, maybe?
That was part of it. I was interested after we sprouted beans in cups when I was in kindergarten. That was the last year I had in school.
Really?
But the kindergarten teacher, we did the little cups of soil with the beans in them, and we sprouted them. And when they sprouted, I thought it was the coolest thing I had ever seen. And I went into the pantry and I got into all the dry beans, and I took a lot of my mom's beans, and every pot I could find laying around outside, I stuck them in there and got it sprouting.
So the seed was planted then, huh?
So the seed was planted then. And I ended up getting taken out. They were going to make me repeat kindergarten. That was very disruptive.
Yeah.
They told me that I was...
Imagine that.
Yeah, can you imagine?
I can't.
I was bored to death. The beans in the cups was the best thing that ever happened in kindergarten. The rest of it, yeah, I didn't really enjoy it.
So, okay. Well, I guess I need to
So, is there anything that you wished you would have learned
Wished I would have learned earlier.
or had that would be a value, and what value would it be to you today?
When I was younger, and for quite a while when I was gardening, even into my 20s, I would always look for something that produced the fastest. I wanted seeds that came up quickly and produced something as quick as possible. And I realized that those annuals, they have such a short lifespan and then they're gone. And if I had planted more fruit trees when I was younger, and I had gotten more into perennials when I was younger, there would be a lot more producing fruit trees, particularly around my parents' house when I was younger.
Yeah.
And I planted one coconut back then when I was 15 down in Fort Lauderdale. There's a coconut palm that every year has hundreds of coconuts probably over the course of the year. It's still there.
Yeah.
30 years later. And if I had thought about it back then, I would always start with perennials first and then do the annuals after.
Interesting.
Long term, because you do get older and things. It seems like 5 years is a really long time.
Yeah.
So you should do it right now.
So David, do you think out of your kids, you're 11?
Right.
Do you think any of them will follow in your footsteps in gardening and the passion for the lifestyle?
I think a few of them will.
Yeah.
They're all extremely independent with very divergent interests. They're all over the place. I've got some that are very interested in chemistry, like, Dad, hey, you're going to ACE? Would you pick me up a gallon of muriatic acid? I'm like, no. But the interest is there.
Yeah.
And then others, all over the map. So music and art and other things.
Oh,
they're interested in too.
So is there anyone interested then?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
A few of my kids are very interested.
Good.
And will garden with me just for fun. But
let me tell you,
sometimes you leave and you come back to it too.
So our kids are all grown. You still have kids at home. So I will tell you, for Stumpy, his most favorite time of the day is in the evening times in the garden with his son, his grown son.
Yeah.
That's where they solve life's
the
problems.
best.
Oh my goodness. And a lot of conversation goes on out there. Some good and some bad, but they solve
we were designed to be in a garden from the very beginning.
Isn't it?
God planted a garden and he put us in it.
Much therapy there, isn't there?
Yeah.
That's right. So what a blessing. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
What is one thing that you wished you would have gathered from maybe your grandparents or your parents that would bring value to you today?
Like things that they knew or things I wish they knew? I don't know. I think probably the person that I've learned the most from has definitely been my dad, because like he's the one who kind of inspired me and introduced me to gardening. Probably unintentionally, but he's the only person that I really knew, apart from like my Uncle Mick. He gardens some too, but he gardens conventionally. He doesn't even believe in organic food at all. He told me, I'm not even joking, he told me that he thinks that organic food is why everybody has so many intestinal diseases now. And I'm like, it's the opposite. Like, I don't get it. But yeah, my dad is the one who kind of introduced me to it all. So the first thing that really introduced me to natural health was actually an article that I read by Dr. McCullough. And he was talking about how when you let your immune system do what it's supposed to do, you don't take any medicine, because when you have a cold, I used to get them all the time, monthly. I'm not even joking, and it would knock me out. I couldn't even function for like a week. I was a single parent, trying my best not to miss work because I needed the money, and so I would get sick all the time, go to work, all of that. And I read this article saying if you just don't do anything, if you don't take any medicine, because the medicine that you take is actually fighting the symptoms of your immune system. So if you fight the cough, if you fight the runny nose, if you fight the fever, then you're basically just stopping your immune system's ability to function. So I was like, all right, bet. I'm going to try it. Next time I get sick, I ain't going to do nothing. 3 days, I could function the entire time, and I've never been down for the count since.
Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Day 2 of Keepers of the Old Ways.
Yep.
There's Erica. She's going to be with us, and Anthony and Beckett will be with us in a little while. And up front, we got Stumpy and Jace. And we are on our way back to the conference this morning. I got a little bit of sleep.
and
Very little.
very little bit of sleep. And but another good day. Spending time with our friends and teaching what we love. So let's get this day done. You ready?
It's gonna be fun.
Okay. Meeting of the minds right here. Meeting of the minds, is that it? You're a higher mind? You probably are.
I agree with that.
I agree with that. Yes. Yes.
All right, guys, look who came to see us today. We got Brown Thumb Nursery and Generation Homes. Is it y'all
Generations.
Homestead?
Yep, it was finally home in Bama.
That's right.
Yep.
Drove all the way down from Gadsden to visit us today and do some classes. We're so glad you guys come. We've been hanging around and talking with them, and
we have.
I was born in Gadsden.
Had a good day.
My husband was born in Gadsden.
Very
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
Okay.
Still has some distant family up there, but anyway, so you come down. What drew you here was some of the classes, obviously, and of course us.
Hanging out with our peeps. We wanted to hang out with our friends.
So you've done some of the classes. What were some of the classes that you did today?
The apothecary class, that was a really good class about foraging. We hung out for a few minutes under a tree listening to another person teaching about foraging.
Yeah.
And we need to get
That was
his
really good.
name and put him in our video because he
Yeah.
was really good. I mean,
He's
he was
probably-
over.
he's probably on the schedule.
Yeah, he's on the schedule, but he was the one over under the tree talking about foraging in your
I heard him because I
yard.
think I come around behind y'all as y'all were doing that.
Yeah, he was really
And
knowledgeable.
I was like, wow, he's smart.
Yep.
He's very smart.
Yeah, and
So-
then we took one on food storage, and that was really good. Nutrition. I'm sorry, it was nutrition.
Michelle from
Yes.
Michelle
And
from
that
Flomaton Famous.
Yep,
They
that was
always
good.
do a great job.
Yep.
Always do a
They
great
were both
job.
together on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. She helps Randall with his grafting classes, and Randall helps her with their nutrition classes. So
Yeah, they were tag teaming.
We are asking people though in our video today. Last year we walked around and we asked people about community, what community meant to you. So that's what a lot of people answered. But this year the theme seems to be just learning things that Nicole, how about I catch her on video? Look at her. running.
Went to her class too.
Yeah. We're asking is, what is one thing you wish you might have learned from your grandparents that you had now, and what would you do with that today?
My grandmother, her mom, was the medicine woman and the herbalist in their area.
Oh, wow.
And I so wish I would have known everything that she knows, or that she knew, and I would be a whole lot better off health-wise had I known.
That's interesting. That's interesting, because when we were in the apothecary class, you were mentioning some things, and I could tell you had some knowledge of it. And I was like, yeah, I want to get more educated myself on it, but
yes. There's so much out there.
There's so much.
Yeah.
Well, she's actually going to the homegrown school. What is it called?
Yeah, for Doc Jones, the homegrown herbalist.
Okay.
I'm doing his course.
Well, good for you.
Yeah.
Well, then I'm going to pick your brain one day. For sure.
There you go.
Yeah. So with all that knowledge, that if you could have gotten that knowledge, then you would be better at medicinal herbs and things like that, and making tinctures and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is that what your grandmother did?
Yep.
Okay.
It is. My grandma remembers going out with her foraging and finding yellow root, which is golden seal.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, and just all these different herbs.
Yeah.
We went, actually, our daughter had health problems in first grade, and that's when we became acquainted with herbs and what a powerful source they are for healing and getting to the root cause, like Nicole was talking today. Instead of trying to cover it up with our prescription medications.
Right.
So it's so important.
And that's the whole reason why we as Pure Hill Farms started our channel, was because we wanted to have video documentation of things that we did on the farm for our kids to go back to.
Right.
Because if I could have my grandmama and my daddy and grandpa here now, I'd pick their brain now. But and hang on to every bit of it. It wasn't until right at the end of their life that I realized, oh my gosh, you know, and I'd started asking questions, but I didn't have enough time.
Yeah.
I didn't have enough time. And I think there is a turn in a lot of young people that are trying to come back to learning that. I've got a lot of young ladies at my church that are wanting to grow their own food and and make tinctures and different things like that, so that they could just do better for their family.
Right.
So, and it's
that's
good to know.
Really cool, because that's what we're doing. That's one of the reasons that we went to Generations Homestead, is our son and his family's living with us now, and we're going back to the old ways.
Yeah.
And it's so cool because, like, our daughter-in-law and I we got together. She did the honey and garlic cloves, and I did the fire cider, and we worked together to get ready for this flu season.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just learning those skills together.
And memories that you'll cherish forever.
Absolutely.
That's right. We're so glad y'all come down to see us. It was a great surprise. We wasn't expecting y'all to drive that far. It's a 4 hour drive.
4.5.
Oh my goodness. Goodness.
But so worth it.
I'm so glad you came. Next year, it's a whole weekend for you guys.
Yes.
Oh, it could be.
Bring your products that you make, and we can set you up a booth here and
there
get
we
you
go.
going.